Okay, hi everyone. Um, in this tutorial, I'll be going over a method for applying some animation to your character that you already have imported from Maya. If you're not sure how to do that, check out my other video in which I go over exporting a character out of Maya and into Unity. Alright, so this method I'll be using now, you do not need to have animation already applied to your character inside Maya that you may have created. Why? Because this method will be using an asset from the asset store. It's the Unity standard assets. It's called Unity Technology Standard Assets. So if you just do a search for standard assets, and it's specifically for Unity 2018, okay, but it works fine in 2019, 2020, and beyond, right? So download that standard assets, right? Take a few minutes to download. Let's go back to our scenes folder. So in here we have, let me just walk over Unity for those who are new to Unity. We have our working area, our working viewport window on the right here, and we have the game window where we can view the actual game on the left hand side. Now yours might be set up slightly different than this. I have and you can just drag these tabs around. This is my scene, this is my game. I can click and drag that and put it wherever I wish. I'll leave it there. Whoops, I'll put it back. Where was it? There. That right? There we go. See, so I just dragged it around. So my setup, I like to have the project window down the bottom here. Okay, you can also move these around a little bit. I like to have the console on the far left, the animation tab next to that. I'll go back to console, and I have my animator, not animation, animator tab up here. Okay, and next up is package manager. All right. And then over here on the right, I have my hierarchy window. I can make that a bit smaller, and my inspector. All right. So the inspector is the equivalent in Maya as the outliner, and the hierarchy is everything in your scene. Oh, sorry, the hierarchy is the equivalent of the outliner in Maya. So you can get all these drop downs of everything in your scene. This is everything in my current scene. Okay, here's my scene, remember? This is like the outliner, and the inspector is like the attribute editor inside Maya. Okay, and these are our folders, all our resources, right? So now to create this character's animation, what we're going to do is lend from that asset store package that we downloaded. And if you come to the project after you've downloaded it and you come to standard assets, and there it is. Okay, so this is the standard asset package that we just downloaded, and in here you've got all sorts of characters. There are vehicles, utilities. Okay, it's worth having a look at some of these. There are environments, etc., particle systems. All right, you can drag and drop some of these. I'll just open a particle. What have we got? Prefabs, ready built ones. So I could drag maybe fireworks or an explosion. Just left click and drag it into your scene. See, there's an explosion, for example. I could drop that, and if I were to push play, it might even explode. Let's see, it might explode fairly quickly. There it goes. Boom. Okay, so we have an explosion. I'll actually just delete, and in the hierarchy, there's our explosion. So I'll just delete that. Gone. So fireworks, flares, etc. Let's go back up through, and what we're interested in is this one under characters here. Double click it, and you've got first person, rollerball, and third person. We're interested in third person. So double clicking that, okay, you have an animator, animation, materials. We're interested in this one, prefabs, okay, and third person script, right? This is the guideline. Actually, this is not a script, this is just a write-up. So you might be interested in reading through this, as this gives you a complete walkthrough and it's not that difficult. There's like seven. Okay, 7 entries in here. Okay, right. So what we're going to do is walk through the process. Now, I could simply come into prefabs and drop this third person, not the AI third person, the third person. I could drop that into my scene, and already if I push play right now, you'll be able to see. By the way, you need to click in the game view to be able to view your game. See, this is now animated. Look at that. See? This character is moving around. Alright. So that's what we're going to achieve, but we need to apply that to our character. So let's just study this character briefly, this grey one we just dropped in. It's a third person controller up here, and you notice if we come down through the inspector, you have all these little tabs here. See these? There's a few of them. Each one of these is what you call a component. And here you can even add your own components, or you can click add component and type a name and it'll pop up if you wish. So I'm going to open these back up again. Here's our transform component. So it's got an animator, okay, and inside the animator there's a controller, a third person animator controller. So we need to apply this to our character. We need a rigid body. We need a capsule collider, a third person user control script, and a third person character script. Okay, so let's apply that to our character. So here's the boy, right? Now by default he has this animator already applied, right? So let's just have a look at here. Now I have the third person animator controller already applied there. Now if you're wondering where that is, we can come in here and third person, let's have a look. There it is under animator folder, third person, this one here. So what did I do? I simply dragged that into my character's third person animator controller there. I just simply left click and drag and dropped it into there. Alright. Alternatively, you could click the little plus on the right hand side of it and it'll bring up a list and you can find it through there as well. Alright, third person animator controller. That's our controller applied. Now the other one is you need to create an avatar. I already have boy ready avatar. If I go back out of this folder structure and I'm going to come up to assets, which is our top folder, and if I look on my character inside here, alright, this is my little character, everything about the character that I imported. See, it's got this take one animation, etc. You've got your model, everything about the actual model, the rig. Alright, you can configure rigs here too. This comes later. That comes later. Animation type is set to humanoid. Alright, if you need to change that, click configure. Alright, animation, so let's look at this. So there we go, and materials, and here are the materials I've applied. Okay, so just be aware of that. Now if I click the little arrow down here, it opens it up and it gives me all the information from the mesh, etc. His eyes, he's got eyes, and here's that boy ready avatar. Alright, if you do not have an avatar, you can simply right click and go create, come down, avatar mask, and then give it a name of choice. Alright, that'll create the avatar, and then come back to your character and you will drag that avatar, left click, drag up into there. Alternatively, once again, you could click the little plus icon and you can find it here. There are several already in here, but boy ready. Okay, alright, so now let's think about what we need to do next. So I'm going to go back to the third person controller and it says, oh, all the rest is good. So avatar, animator, I can close that now. And then it says here we need a rigid body. Let's check our character. I'm clicking on the boy and I do not have a rigid body component. So let's go and add a component. Click add component, type rigid, R-I-G. There it is, the very first one. Now I have a rigid body. See? By the way, you can left click and drag these to place them up through the order. See, you can reposition these. You need to click this one, I think it is. Alternatively, you can click the three little dots and go move up. See, because the order of operation, how they're stacked, is quite important. Okay, so I put the rigid body first, then my animator. So what do we got here? We're using gravity. Yes. Did they use gravity on this one? Yes, they did. Okay. Good. So that's the rigid body done. Next up, we want a Capsule Collider. So click on my character. I'll just type the word cap for Capsule Collider. Don't go the 2D. Make sure it's the first one. We have a Capsule Collider. Now in here, you'll notice it's got material, and my material is nothing. It is worth putting a material on there. So click the little plus icon, and I'm going to go max friction. No, I'll go max friction. Yeah, we'll go max friction. Okay, if I click on this one, what's he got? He got zero friction. Zero friction. Okay, if you wished, you could go zero friction as well. I've gone max friction. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so there we go. That's it up. Now, what we need to do, this Capsule Collider, it's a capsule. It should envelope the entire character. So we need to change the size of that. So you can do that here in the center, radius, and height. So I'll change the height a little bit. The radius is not too bad. I'll bring it down a bit. And I'll change the Y up so it encapsulates my whole character. And I'll change the height a bit more. Something like that. Okay? By the way, my character is sitting at world position 0, 0, 0. Really helps if it starts off in 0, 0. Okay, you can move it once everything's been applied. Okay, let's carry on. Now what do we have? So there's the Capsule Collider on that character. Radius 0.3, etc. Direction y-axis. Okay, we can minimize that. Now we need a third-person user control and a third-person character. So let's try those. Third person, THIR, third person user control. Okay, and notice when I created that third person user control, it created the third person character script automatically. Fantastic. Let's have a look at the character script. We got moving speed, turning speed, everything's there, and this is just a script, this one. Okay, so if you want to change your height at which it jumps, etc., I'll bring this down a little bit, maybe to 6 for now, see what we get. Turn speed, etc., it's all in there. Okay, alright, let's take this for a spin. I'll push play up here and I'll click in my game port, my game window. So I left click here, see what we get. Okay, he's stuck in the air, but he is, and he's not moving. Why is that? Well, let's have a look. Okay, so what could that be? Well, let's click on our character, the boy. Let's scroll down here, and everything looks fine in Capsule Collider and Animator. These are all populated. I notice when we come down to third person character, the moving turn, great, everything, but the ground check distance. So when I push play before, our character was stuck in the air. Let's try changing the distance from the ground check distance to say 0.3, and let's push play again. Clicking in our game port. Okay, that's better. He's on the ground. What happens when we push our arrow keys? He's moving. Fantastic. Okay, that's what we're after. What about the space bar? Yes, he jumps. What about C for crouch? And W for move maybe, or even your arrow keys? Alright. Alright, fantastic. Let's push stop. And we could officially click on our third person controller and delete that. So now we have our character in scene. Okay guys, thanks for watching.